You're about to learn something that changes how you see your own life. Welcome to Doodle Breakdown. You check your phone. No new messages. You check it again 10 minutes later. Still nothing. It feels small. It feels like a personal failure, a flaw in your social life. But the real answer is far stranger. That ache in your chest isn't a mood. It's a fire alarm. And it's been going off in human bodies for 200,000 years. Your brain doesn't experience loneliness the way it experiences sadness. It experiences it the way it experiences hunger. A signal, a warning, a demand for action. Something is missing, and your survival depends on fixing it. That's not a metaphor. That's biology. In the 1990s, a social neuroscientist named John Cacioppo started asking a question most psychologists had ignored. What if loneliness isn't just an emotion? What if it's a biological alarm system wired into you by evolution, exactly like thirst or pain? He wasn't guessing. He ran the studies. And what he found changed how scientists understand the entire architecture of human connection. Here's the piece most people miss. For almost all of human history, being alone didn't just feel bad. It was a death sentence. Your ancestors did not survive the African savanna, the Ice Age tundra, or the long stretches of prehistoric famine as individuals. They survived in groups. A lone human, cut off from the tribe, faced predators without backup, injuries without care, and food shortages without anyone to share the load. Isolation didn't just hurt, it killed. So evolution did what it always does. It built a warning system. Pain tells you that your body is being damaged. Hunger tells you that your body needs fuel. And loneliness tells you that your survival network is breaking down. It's not a coincidence that loneliness activates some of the same neural pathways as physical pain. Your brain is not being dramatic. It's doing exactly what it evolved to do. Cacioppo called this the evolutionary theory of loneliness. The idea is simple, but the implications are enormous. Loneliness isn't a personality trait. It isn't proof that something is wrong with you. It's a biological cue, as old as the species itself, pushing you back toward the group before the group stops existing for you. Think about that for a second. The most uncomfortable feeling you have might be the oldest survival tool you own. But here's where it gets stranger. This ancient alarm system was built for a world that no longer exists. Your ancestors lived in tight bands of maybe 50 to 150 people. Everyone knew everyone. Connection was physical, constant, and unavoidable. You didn't choose your community. You were born into it and you stayed in it, because leaving meant death. Now picture your actual life. You might live alone, you might work from home, you might scroll through hundreds of faces a day without speaking to a single one of them in person. Your brain still runs the same ancient software, but it's running on hardware evolution never designed for. The alarm still goes off. It just doesn't know what to do with a world of apartments, screens, and strangers. This is where a second researcher enters the story. Julianne Holt-Lunstad, a psychologist who spent years studying the health effects of isolation, ran a massive analysis pulling together data from over 300,000 people. What she found should have made front-page news everywhere. Chronic loneliness was linked to a higher risk of early death, comparable to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, comparable to obesity. In some comparisons, worse than either. Let that sit for a moment. Not eating vegetables raises your risk of disease. Not moving your body raises your risk of disease. And not having anyone raises your risk of disease at nearly the same magnitude. Your ancestors' bodies already knew this. They didn't need a study. Isolation meant no one to pull you from the river, no one to notice the fever, no one to share the last of the meat. Your body still remembers, even if your conscious mind has forgotten why. So why does modern loneliness feel so different from ancient loneliness? Why can you be surrounded by hundreds of people in a crowded office or a packed subway car and still feel like the last person on earth? This is where the story gets even more interesting and a little uncomfortable. In the 1950s, a psychologist named Harry Harlow ran a series of experiments on infant rhesus monkeys that were, by any modern standard, ethically brutal. But the results revealed something profound about the nature of connection itself. Harlow separated baby monkeys from their mothers and gave them two artificial replacements. One was a bare wire frame that dispensed milk, the other was a soft, cloth-covered frame that dispensed nothing at all. Which one do you think the baby monkeys clung to? Every single time, they chose the cloth, even though it offered no food. Even though survival, in the strictest biological sense, depended on the wire mother's milk. The infants would feed briefly from the wire frame, then rush back to cling to the soft, warm, comforting shape of the cloth mother. Contact mattered more than calories. Comfort mattered more than nutrition. Connection, it turned out, was not a luxury layered on top of survival. It was a survival need in its own right. This is the piece your modern life keeps missing. You can have food delivered to your door. You can have entertainment streaming 24 hours a day. You can have every material need met without speaking to another human being for weeks. But your nervous system was never built to separate survival from connection. It doesn't distinguish between I have no food and I have no one. Both trigger the same ancient alarm. Both feel to your body like danger. That's why loneliness doesn't just feel emotionally heavy. It changes you physically. Chronic loneliness raises cortisol, your body's stress hormone. It disrupts sleep. It weakens immune function. Your body, still convinced it's alone on the savannah without backup, stays braced for a threat that never fully arrives and never fully leaves either. The alarm doesn't shut off. It just keeps ringing quietly in the background, wearing down the system that was supposed to protect you. And here's the twist inside the twist. Modern connection often mimics the signal of real connection without delivering its actual effect. Scrolling through a feed of other people's lives can feel in the moment like being included. But your ancient alarm system isn't built to register a like, a comment, or a passive scroll as genuine social contact. It's built for eye contact. It's built for shared meals, shared effort, shared physical space. When you swap real contact for its digital echo, the alarm doesn't turn off. It just gets quieter and stranger and harder to name. So what do you actually do with an alarm system this old, wired for a world this different? You don't silence it. You answer it. The instinct to text a friend back, to make plans, to sit across a table from another human being instead of a screen is not weakness. It's your body doing exactly what kept your species alive for 200,000 years. Cacioppo's later research found something hopeful buried inside all this. Loneliness isn't a fixed trait, it's a state, and it responds to the same thing it always has. Not more contact for the sake of contact, but meaningful, reciprocal connection. Quality over quantity. One real conversation over 100 passive notifications. Your ancestors didn't need self-help books to understand this. They needed each other, in the most literal, physical, life or death sense. And in a strange way, so do you. Even if the stakes look different now. You won't be eaten by a predator for eating dinner alone tonight. But some ancient part of your brain doesn't fully know that. It's still listening for footsteps. It's still counting who's nearby. So the next time that ache shows up uninvited in the middle of an ordinary evening, try seeing it differently. Not as a flaw, not as proof that something is wrong with you. See it for what it actually is. A message sent across 200,000 years from every ancestor who survived because they were never truly alone. You check your phone again, but maybe this time you call someone instead. The alarm isn't broken. It's working exactly as it was built to. If this made you see something in your own life a little differently, that's the whole point. Hit subscribe if you want more of these. The strange, ancient reasons behind the things you do every day. And if something in this one stuck with you, drop it in the comments. It helps this channel more than you'd think.